All right, fight fans, Fight Island 7 kicked absolute ass. It was incredible. We can't wait to talk about that. It's Tarps Off MMA, episode 2. I'm Chris Mancuso, joined by Jack Gotzel of tarpsoffsports.com and Terry Tam of hotsaucesports.ca. We make up Tarps Off MMA. Boys, first off, Fight Island, Uncle Dana gave us another card to just drool over. That was incredible. Your instant reactions, guys.
I mean, my instant reaction is what a bloodbath we saw in that main event. I mean, my boy Calvin Kattar, he just got outclassed. I mean, Holloway was by far the better striker, but boy, how tough is Calvin Kattar? He has to be the toughest guy on the planet.
At some point, like you gotta, like, the coaches gotta throw the towel in on him. I mean, listen, it's good. He's probably got a nice paycheck, a nice little direct deposit, $150K, whatever it is from Uncle Dana, something. He probably got something for not tapping out. But realistically, he was out on his feet in the third round, and in the fourth round, he should have never come off the stool. Like, that's realistic to me. But I enjoyed the content. I enjoyed what he put out there, and good on him. The guy's a tough motherfucker for sure.
Yeah, man. Like, tell me that wasn't incredible. And I mean, I was just, man. I said it earlier, like, instantly in the fight, I was like, good luck in 2021 beating that fight. But it's like, I was just all amped up because it was just so one-sided. I mean, I imagine there is going to be a better fight per se, but when Holloway started like yelling at the commentators, and he was just, man, he was landing strikes at will. He set the record for strikes landed. It was unbelievable. But like, to your point, Jack, your Boston boy there, he took his licking, kept on going. I can't believe his corner didn't stop it. I mean, I know he would never allow them or never forgive them. He's just that type of kid, but holy shit, that was a one-sided ass kicking. So Terry, let's go right into it. Holloway, the best all time in the division. You say yes, Jack says no. Let's just, you know what? It's fight week. We have another fight coming up on Wednesday and another fight coming up on Saturday, but let's have a fight right now. Tell us why.
Wouldn't be much of a fight there, Jack. Just letting you know. Then be fighting words. Yeah, Max Holloway is the best at featherweight of all time, man. You can't even listen. All the respect to Jose Aldo, it's Max 1, Jose 2, Conor 3, and it's Conor 3 with only because of what he's done completely in his career, not necessarily what he did at featherweight. The reason why
when he decimated it.
Okay, listen. Nobody can match that run that he made. That run that he made to get to the title shot was unbelievable. Brimage, Cyver, Mendez, Aldo, you know what I mean? And he KO'd them all. He ruined every single one of them. You can even throw a 12-year-old Holloway in there. You know what I mean? He beat them all. But the reality is that Holloway has the most significant strikes landed in the history of the history of the sport. He only fights at 45. He can't fight in any other way. He's too big for 35 and he's too small for 55. We saw him get ruined by Porier. That's realistically. Yeah. So now, pound for pound, I'll take Conor over Holloway any day of the week. There's no doubt about that. But if you talk about pure featherweight, what Holloway did in that division was much bigger than what Conor did, because he did it at the championship level. He didn't do it on his way to the championship level. He also did it on his way to the championship level, but he did it at the championship level too. And there's nobody that can contest Max Holloway at that weight class. Nobody.
You're seriously going to say that Max Holloway is a better featherweight than Jose Aldo? Like, Jose Aldo was a victim of these guys showing up.
Yeah, how many times
he was a victim of getting old, man. I don't think that you can put him ahead of Aldo. I wouldn't even put Conor ahead of Aldo. I have Aldo in that number one spot. I mean, he's the GOAT. Father Time catches up with everybody, man.
It's tough not to say he isn't because of WEC. Well, yeah, he took the belt. He brought the belt from the WEC, so I get that. Yeah, and it's not to me. It's like 1A, 1B, but I'm giving Holloway a little bit extra here. But it's for Conor.
It goes Aldo, McGregor, Holloway.
You're wrong for McGregor because he never defended the belt. There's your argument. Done. Finished. When he was 5 years old. He was 5.
He would have finished him.
He was 5
if he had 2 legs.
He was 5.
Give me a break.
Did you see Max Holloway? Did you see what he looked like before the fight?
He's the best boxer.
He didn't even have hair on his face.
He got outstruck by McGregor.
It was
He
8
got
years ago.
destroyed.
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna look for the year. 1 second. I'm gonna find this fucking.
Is
year.
Connor not a better fighter now than
It was
then, though?
2013. You know, 8 years ago. You know what happens
So
in 8 years?
they
Those
run it
testicles
back. You're
drop.
taking Holloway.
If they ran it back, you would take Holloway over McGregor right now, Terry. You just said you take
At
him.
45, yes. At 55, no.
No, I don't
Because
take
Connor,
him anywhere against
if Connor's
McGregor.
if Connor's cutting to 45, he's not healthy. So,
But I get
at
what you're saying
45,
about it
yes.
being a pure featherweight. So, but
Pure
I
featherweight.
can understand him being in the top two, where Jack says no. I kind of agree with you. McGregor never defended the title. Maybe didn't spend as much time in the division, but to put him over Jose Aldo, to me,
I'm gonna read off the list since he lost to Conor McGregor. Okay. Will Chope, whatever.
Let's read it off.
Will Chope, whatever. Useless. Doesn't even have a Wikipedia page. Touchy Feely, Andre Feely when he was on his up and coming, Clay Collar, whatever. Coruscant when Coruscant was a fucking monster back then, and he KO'd him. Okay, Cole Miller was back then a submission machine, nothing. Cub Swanson, submission. Charles Oliveira, TKO. Charles Oliveira, TKO, the guy who's gonna fight for the weight.
Charles Oliveira, I know who that is. I was talking about the last guy.
Jeremy Stevens, Ricardo Lamas, Anthony Pettis, TKO. Jose Aldo, TKO. Jose Aldo, TKO. Brian Ortega, TKO. Lost to Dustin Poirier, beat Frankie Edgar, split with Volkanovski, but whatever, you got 2 losses, and now he just smokes your boy Calvin Kattar. Don't even tell me that Conor McGregor is better than him.
Okay,
Don't tell me Jose Aldo's better than him when he lost to him twice. Your argument about Conor McGregor being better,
Father time.
You're at the beginning of his career. You're talking about the beginning.
You want to talk about that? That's Jose Aldo at the end of his career. Why does it matter at the beginning of his career, but we can't talk about Jose Aldo's end of his career?
Okay, fine. So Matt Serra's better than GSP.
No, that's insane.
There's your argument. There's your argument.
He beat him.
There's your argument.
But let's listen to Jose Aldo's UFC fights before he faced McGregor.
I know. Uriah Faber, Mike Brown. Yeah,
Chad
for sure.
Mendez, Frankie Edgar.
I have it here once.
Ricardo Lamas, Chad Mendez. Yeah. Like, those are killers, and he beat them all.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, you can't. No one will ever convince me that Jose.
I'm not doubting that. And honestly, up until Max Holloway smoked Ortega, I would have said Jose Aldo is the best featherweight of all time. Not even Conor McGregor. But after that fight, Holloway proved to me he's the best featherweight of all time. And the fact that he beat Jose Aldo, I don't care if it's at the end of his career or if it's in the middle of his fucking career. He smoked him twice. He beat him twice. And Max Holloway was
old.
No, when he fought,
I'll go into my local old folks home, and I bet you I'll beat the same guy up there twice too, Terry. Like, you can't say that matters at the beginning.
He fought
Max Holloway.
Max Holloway fought nine pro fights. Max Holloway fought 9 pro fights when he fought Conor McGregor. 9. It was 8 years ago.
He fought a man on one leg and still lost.
One leg.
Conor McGregor
fight with
took him down at will.
Exactly.
He no takedown special. He took Holloway down at will.
Okay, how many times has Holloway been knocked down in his career? Knocked down.
He was knocked down by McGregor.
Even if you have no fingers on your hand, you can count 0. Never knocked down in his entire career.
He was knocked down in that McGregor fight.
Taken down, maybe. Never knocked down.
No.
I remember the fight, and I feel like Conor caught him in the second round.
Could be.
That's in my brain. I think he has.
I think it was the end
official
of the first.
Official
knockdown.
knockdown.
Okay, because I was going to say first or second round, but I thought
I'm gonna try and find that fight right now. Go.
Well, we can try to find it right now. All I'm going to say is
right.
It's a better argument than when we went into it. I didn't think. Now that you made that argument, I can see where you would put him ahead of Conor in that division specifically. I'll give that, but like Jose Aldo at the end of his career.
Yeah, that's asinine putting him ahead of Aldo.
You can't. You can't. Aldo's beat the guys.
He beat him twice. He beat him twice.
When he was at the end. When he was
back to back. Not like
after McGregor broke him. McGregor broke him in 13 seconds.
It was one punch. It was one punch.
That's all it takes to change
a beautiful punch. A beautiful punch.
That's all it takes to change a man.
Yes,
it was one punch. Oh, for sure,
it
changed
him. Aldo has no confidence. He doesn't even know what confidence is since McGregor beat him.
What are you talking about?
Man, he kind of has that sad BJ Penn near the end of his career, drunk, getting beat up in the bar vibe going right now. Poor Jose Aldo. Conor McGregor ruined that man.
Hey, he still beat some nice guys after he lost to Conor, though, we'll say.
Who?
Aldo.
Who did he beat?
He beat Jeremy Stevens, Moicano. He just beat Marlon Vera.
Okay, that's actually
like decent fights. I'm not saying
Stevens falls apart in the big fight. He
usually does, but they're still good fighters. The guy's still a KO fucking specialist. Yeah,
he's tough. He's got a nice hand too. I'm
a KO guy.
Surprised that I would have bet him to knock out fight. So I'm glad
Yeah,
I
because you
wasn't
think his chin
paying
is gone,
attention when
but
I was
Conor McGregor's
watching.
that just good of a puncher. I'm just saying. I'm
Yeah, well,
not
all it
saying.
takes is one spot, right? One
Yeah.
shot in any fight can end. One shot. It seemed like there was a lot of knockouts going through the UFC Fight Island 7 card. That was incredible. Not just the Holloway fight. There was some other just awesome fights on that card. Like it was unbelievable. What was the first fight of the night that we got going? It was
Punahele Soriano against Dusko Todorovic.
Soriano, and Soriano absolutely rocked him.
Terry won that one, right? Didn't you predict that?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, not in my article though. When I did my but I put money on Dusko, but realistically, I thought Punahele was gonna win that fight.
Yeah.
Only because when I broke it down though, I kind of like I'm like no, I think Dusko was gonna win because the way he fights, he's just more of a technical guy. But I will say this: if it stayed on the ground, because at one point Dusko was on the ground and his jiu-jitsu looked really good, and Punahele realized that and stood up. If it stayed on the ground, I really think Dusko would have tapped him out. I really do. I really think he would have got a
Punahele
leg lock or something. Yeah.
now he's 8-0. He's 2-0 in his UFC career with back-to-back knockout victories on his resume. I remember we had said, he took a year off. I know right away he was saying he's looking for a fight. He's going to probably be getting a better opponent in his way for the next one for sure. But then we had, which was crazy to me, Deshrilio, or how do you say it? Di Chirico? How does he say it? That Italian.
Alessio Di Chirico. Yeah.
DeChirico, that's it. He knocked Buckley out. Everyone remembers Buckley with that spinning back kick 2 fights previous to that knockout. He gets caught with a kick to the head. He gets knocked out. I didn't see that coming at all. I looked at them. I just couldn't stop thinking what a big man Buckley is. But he got caught, man. He drew him in and bang, shut the lights out on him. It was fucking awesome.
But that was the fight that I didn't pick Punahele. I picked Dusko when we were picking. I picked Alessio Di Chirico. The reason why is because we had on Weekly Sauce, we had Emanuele Adzo on. He's a MMA fighter from California, and he was telling us off air. He told us, he's like, listen, that guy Buckley. He's like, I know him. He's from my town, O'Fallon, Missouri. He's like, he's a good fighter. He's like, but I'll smoke the shit out of him. He's like, I'm not telling you that because I disrespected him. He's like, I'm just a much better fighter. He's like, that KO that he made, that he hit was a great KO. You can't get me wrong. He's like, but realistically, he's probably going to lose his next fight. And that's what he did. That's why I was like, I'm high on Alessio Di Chirico. And because Alessio Di Chirico was a crazy kickboxer, and he really puts the pressure. And Buckley, he's just like all power, man. And he's one of those guys. He's one of those guys who just, he might lose a few decisions here and there. Yeah, exactly. It was crazy. The KO to the top of the head like that chin was nasty.
Yeah, it did have a little bit of a fluky feel to it, though. It was like, was he really out? Like, I don't know. It wasn't like a vicious knockout.
I think if it went to decision, it would have been the same result. I think Alessio would have won that fight.
I agree.
Yeah, that's what all I'm saying is like he caught him, yeah, but I think realistically, Alessio was the all around better fighter than Buckley is.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
The next fight was Li Jingliang. What a knockout that was! That was a 1-punch KO.
That was vicious.
He's a lot bigger than I had recalled when he was in the ring. Like when I saw them standing up,
he's a thick boy,
dude, he's a big boy. I like that guy, dude. Yeah. I ride with that guy. Like I'm on the train for sure. Jingliang is good shit, man. That was evil.
He's tapped too, and that was a vicious knockout.
Yeah.
That was, in my opinion, the knockout of the night.
It was.
Oh, yeah,
it was pretty
100%,
sick.
bro. My jaw hit the table when he hit that.
I had actually picked him too because I saw his fight against Neil Magny, and against Neil Magny he was huge, man. He's just a bigger guy. He's got a really thick fucking frame, you know what I mean? So like he's a big boy, and I knew that he was resilient, and he never steps backwards. He's always going forward, and that's all he needed to do. And Ponzinibbio coming off of a 3-year layoff like that, it's tough, it's tough, and he just got touched. There's a button there, and it hit the button, and he was gone. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. It was a great fight, and big things to come for him inside this promotion, 110%. Next fight, we had Carlos Condit win a decision over Matt Brown. That was a bloody fight as well. I remember thinking, yeah, Condit won that fight, but one of the judges scored it 30-27. That first round, I think it was the first round. There's no way Condit won that first round. He won the next two and won the fight. But one of the judges scored it 30-27. That was asinine.
It's not.
If you gave that first round to not Condit, you watched a different fight than I did.
Yeah, it's not. It's not the craziest thing I've seen, but that was. But I think Conde won all 3 rounds. The way I see it,
Yeah.
it was tight. It was tight, but I mean, you can argue both
Thought
sides
that
of
first
it.
round was close.
Yeah.
I didn't think they were going to really pick a winner in that first round. I mean, don't get me wrong. I agree with the decision. I just thought, I remember when that came out, I was like, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
It's
And
because
then,
Matt
of course,
Brown.
we talked.
It's because he took him down, right? And he really do much on the ground. But then Conde was more when they were standing, he connected more. Matt Brown didn't really do much on the ground, so you could take him down. But if you're still getting pieced up for 2.5 minutes, and then you ground and pound it for 2.5 minutes, what outweighs the other one? I think that's what they were looking at.
That's why I kind of would have split that round.
Yeah, exactly.
Personally. But hey, I mean, everybody, these people know more than I do. I was sitting here
sometimes they
watching,
don't
were live streaming. No, sometimes they don't. And Dana White's always pretty quick to let you know, never leave it in the hands of the judges because they're fucking idiots. And then Holloway obviously picked apart Cater. That was a 5-round to nothing, just ass whooping.
Yeah,
That was an unbelievable fight, though.
Who do you guys think Holloway should fight next? Zabit, or who do you think he goes at next?
I think Holloway goes belt. I think Cater was going to get a title shot if he won, so why not Holloway? Holloway's still number 1 contender before.
Yeah, winner of Volkanovski, and who's he fighting? It's
he's fighting Ortega.
Ortega, yeah, that's right. So Volkanovski after he beats Ortega.
I think Ortega's going to win that fight.
And Max Holloway said that if anyone had to come out injured for any reason from the McGregor match, he'll step in and fight. This weekend coming up, which would never happen. But
Dana White's like, we got that covered, because the thing is that both those guys wouldn't accept to fight Max Holloway. Like
Connor would.
I don't think he would. I don't think it's worth it for him to do that. I don't think he would.
He laughed at him when he said he was the best boxer. Did you see the tweet? He put like LOL.
Connor will fight anybody. You would have said he wouldn't have fought Chad Mendes when Jose Aldo pulled out. Completely different fighter. A wrestler.
No. Connor had a lot to prove back then.
Anytime, anywhere.
Connor had a lot to prove back then. Connor wasn't the.
Yeah, I don't know.
Connor wasn't the Connor we knew now. Connor knew that he had to fight somebody big, and he knew that it was Uriah Faber's boy. He's like, I got to shut this guy up too, so I can shut up that whole camp, so I can show everybody that I'm not just a fucking flash in the pan guy who can just knock out Dustin Poirier. And he did. He had a lot to prove. He has nothing to prove to beat Holloway. He already beat him, and he has nothing to. There's no reason for him to change his whole game plan to fight against a brawler as opposed to fighting against a guy who's good on the ground, just as good as he is.
Poirier, but Poirier's comments leading into this seem to me that he thinks he can stand in. He said he wants this match to be bloody. He wants it to be a war. And I just, I mean, maybe, hey, he's a lot different fighter than he was when him and Conor fought the first time too. But I don't think that's a game at that weight you want to be playing with Conor McGregor. No, I just don't think that's a game he wants to play.
I don't know, Jack. I think you'll agree with me on this. Is like we can jump on and be like, oh, Dustin Poirier looks good. He's a good boxer. He's gotten a lot better. All that stuff. And then reality, he's going to set in. When you look at it, you're like, he's not going to win. He's not going to beat Conor. And if he does, good on him. But I don't see it happen. I love Dustin Poirier. I think he's a great fighter. One of my favorites for sure. Yeah. He's always entertaining. I was actually rooting for him against Conor the first time, but right now, I don't see it happening. I don't think Dustin Poirier has it in him to beat Conor. Conor looks like he looks like the old Conor right now.
I mean, Conor
looks good.
Conor baptized Dustin Poirier in their first fight. Like, he beat him, he broke him, and Dustin Poirier grabbed himself off the canvas and reinvented himself, and he came back way better. He's changed his takedowns. He's way more efficient in his takedowns. He's a way better striker. It's not enough to beat Conor McGregor.
It's tough to just jump on Dustin Poirier's bandwagon, which it's not tough. It's easy to jump on his bandwagon, but it's tough to say that he's going to be better than McGregor. McGregor back then used to use mental warfare to get in your head. Now he's just like, so like, just chill. Like, I'm just going to kill you. And that's it. I'm going to take my $100 million and go home.
Yeah. Conor, the one thing I was going to say from their first fight lead up, like, I mean, Conor was in his head before the fight even started. Yeah. Poirier was rattled. This
he
time
says
around,
it on the countdown.
I mean, hey, listen. There's no question that all that shit with Khabib, all the talk, he called his manager a terrorist rat. He called him like a terrorist rat. There was a lot of personal things said, and Khabib shut his fucking mouth pretty hard. So I think you're seeing a more humble Conor McGregor, and I think someone who I'm not the biggest Khabib guy in the world. I have a little chip on my shoulder about that guy because he just rubs me the wrong way. But you know what? I think he humbled. I think a part of the reason you're seeing Conor this humble is like, bro, like there was no
Oh
bigger
yeah.
shitstorm than
He
getting dropped
realized
by Khabib like that. Yeah,
he realized he wasn't untouchable anymore. And
yeah,
the thing is with that is that okay, he loses and he's like, "Oh fuck, what happened here? Like I just lost
and that'll make him a
respect."
better fighter.
Yeah, I lost respect. Like people doubt me now. And I think that's what's coming. That's what you're seeing from Connor is like people are like, "Okay, no, he's not fucking around anymore." And it's good on him because this is the Connor that came up, the one that was did you guys watch the UFC countdown? It came out today. So
No, I haven't caught it yet.
they highlighted like the beginning of his career and his come up and when his first fight in the UFC when he fucking smoked who did he fight first in the UFC?
It was it wasn't Brandao, it was Brimage, Marcus Brimage.
Marcus
Marcus
Brimage,
Brimage.
yeah. So his first fight in the UFC, and then when they fought in Boston, you know, like when he against Holloway, like this is whole like they showed the whole thing, and it's like, man, this guy back then was a fucking assassin, and he kind of lost it when it came into the money. And it's not that he didn't lose his skill, but you know, there's a mental game there that he was a lot mentally tough than
Bro,
everybody he faced.
how do you go with the same chip on your shoulder after you just got paid $100 million? And let's call it, that was more acting than it was that was more theater than it was really a real boxing match too. Like, come on, like let's call it what it is. Floyd let him stay in that match.
Oh yeah, hundred
Call it,
percent.
it was all about making money. That so yeah, man, it's hard to have that same hunger. And I think Khabib shitstorming him like that, and really, I think it really humbled him. And it was either probably a place where it was like you can either just take these one-off boxing matches, and I think he'll still do another one of those because you know what, at the end of the day, you're in it for your legacy, your financial future, right? So you're going to obviously want to do stuff like that. But I think losing to Khabib really put him into a different mental space where he wants to prove that he isn't just a promoter guy. He wants to prove that he's one of the best fighters now. And I think we're going to just only get the best out of Conor McGregor. I think he's going to improve. I think he's going to show a very impressive performance this weekend. And I think him and Khabib are going to fight for the 30-0. And while I still don't think it'll finish good for Conor, I don't think it'll be as vicious as it was the last time. Because if you look at him going into that Khabib fight and what he looks like now, he almost looks like he looks kind of fucked up going into that Khabib fight almost.
I
He
just don't
looked a little
know.
coked up, that's for sure.
Bro,
I
I'm not trying to say his skin was a little gray, like, but I'm saying, like, I've been there before, a week straight of partying. You got like zero hydration in your body. You kind of get that like half dead glow to you where
Yeah, I
you're
got
like
it.
gray almost. Like,
Yeah.
listen, I love Connor. You guys know that, but like he was fucked up going into that. There's no question.
It
Like
looked
when he
like
said he was just promoting the proper 12 a little too hard. I think that there was other stuff that followed proper 12.
Yeah, for sure. But I
And I
just don't
love
know.
Connor. Love him to death.
I don't
Take a
know if
bullet
there's
for him.
any way that fight doesn't end viciously. I mean, if Khabib's gonna win, he's gonna win by either ground and pound or submission. And if Connor wins, he's gonna win by
A vicious knockout.
knockout.
Yeah, it's
That
just
fight ain't
like
going the distance. There's just no way. It
well,
just
the
doesn't
the
make
thing is
sense.
Connor doesn't have the wrestling ability, or I don't think the skill in his camp to even be able to wrestle with Khabib. So I mean,
No,
unless he catches him, he's probably going to end the same way. But you know what? If Connor's smart going into that Khabib fight, he will bring in someone from the outside
he already has.
wrestling.
He already has.
No, he
He's
needs someone better. You know who would be the best coach
no,
for
I'm saying
Conor
he
McGregor?
has since then.
Okay, good. You know who
Yeah.
would be a great coach for Conor McGregor with
Who?
wrestling if he could do a camp with your boys down in Quebec, the GSP camp? Like
If he
that's the
comes to the
kind of guy
Montreal
who would
Wrestling Club, yeah. If he comes to Montreal Wrestling Club, he'll be with the best of the best for sure. Because
that's what dude, that's what I'm
guys
saying.
down
He
here are
needs a
not.
camp with those guys. He needs a camp in Canada, not with the fucking Irish. He needs a camp like dude, look at GSP. He
The
wasn't
re-
even like he could have been an Olympic champion wrestler. And this guy, did he even wrestle in high school? Like, you know what it's like in Canada. The wrestling game here is nothing like the
he
States.
he didn't
Nothing.
wrestle. He didn't
You're lucky if
wrestle.
your school can.
He didn't wrestle until he was in the UFC.
That's what I mean, dude.
Yeah.
And look what he learned at that camp. He became the best wrestler in sports history. Conor McGregor, I know he has loyalty to all those guys inside his camp. You say he's brought in someone. If I'm fighting Khabib, I'm paying whatever. You got the 100 million now. If GSP ain't gonna come out and fight, try to see if he'll come out and help you draw up a game plan to survive wrestling with Khabib. Because other than that, you're just gonna get beat by him.
Yeah.
Terry, who did he bring in?
No, he's wrestling with the Irish national team. So
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
a big as you can tell, I'm a big Quebec wrestling guy. You guys do like the wrestling, like you said, GSP wasn't even wrestling till he was in the UFC,
yeah.
and look
There's
what
a
he
lot of
became
guys.
then.
There's a lot of guys over here. The
Yeah,
Montreal
man.
Wrestling Club is like world renowned. Like it was my wrestling coach at Vanier. I took like my CJEP over here. It's like before university, after high school. We don't have a grade 12 in Quebec, so we have you go 11 to CJEP for 2 years, then you go to university after. So for 2 years, I played football there, but for gym, I took a wrestling class, and it was Zilberman, and he's the coach of the national team, of the Canadian national team, and his son was on the team, and Jamie Mancini's on the team. He's a UFC fighter. There's a lot of all the UFC fighters from TriStar, all those guys, they all train at that Montreal Wrestling Club. That's where they're all good at
Yeah,
wrestling.
man, it's one of the best clubs ever. And if Connor's serious about beating Khabib, I don't even think the Irish national team is
Well,
good enough. I think
he's not even
I think
training in Ireland. He's training in Portugal because Ireland you can't train. You're not allowed because of the
yeah, you can't
COVID or
do
whatever.
shit. Yeah.
So in
But I'm just
Portugal they
saying,
allow
like
it.
those.
so
Yep.
speaking of Connor and Khabib, Terry, you wanted to talk about that comment from Conor McGregor about the championship was never official.
He's delusional.
That
He's
is
delusional. He's
delusional.
delusional. Like I
I'm,
love Connor, but I'll
I'm,
never hate on him. But he's delusional. He's delusional.
yeah.
I don't think he's delusional, and I don't think he means it. I don't think he believes
Yeah,
what
it's
he says.
it's
He
premeditated.
is promoting that fight. He's trying to do everything he can to just poke Khabib out of retirement.
Oh,
He's not
absolutely.
delusional. He's
You
not
No,
got it.
delusional at all. He knows exactly what he's doing.
yeah, but I mean, yeah, and you know what? I was just gonna say that. I was like, the first joke I was gonna make is how many shots of proper 12 do you need to think that you're still a champion in that round? But that's all kidding aside. Jack, you nailed it. This is just Connor
It's
trying to
crazy.
get Khabib off the couch, come make the 30-0 fight. You know his dad would want him to go 30-0 versus McGregor
Oh,
too.
for sure.
You
Oh
know that
yeah.
that's who he would want him to beat his ass. Connor
100%.
knows that he knows that, and he's trying to get him out. And I think if he has a great performance against Poirier, Khabib, you think Khabib flew to the Middle East to tell Dana maybe? You think he really
No,
told him to tell him
I
maybe?
said that the whole time.
Or,
He's not.
or when Connor knocks Poirier out, is Khabib coming out and there's going to be a whole thing?
All the
He was
maybe
never
is
walking into that meeting.
yeah, it's true. I think the maybe means if Connor wins, I'll fight. That's what it means. It doesn't mean that because he
I
doesn't want to fight
think that's what
Poirier.
it means too. He's not
Yeah.
gonna, yeah, exactly. He's not gonna put 30-0 on the line versus Poirier. He'll take more time and try to coax GSP because I know from the way the media works. Came out reports an idea of a GSP Khabib fight excites GSP. That doesn't just magically come out of the air. That's gifted to someone in the
Yeah.
media that GSP and his camp likes and said, there's a lot of fucking money in that fight. And there's people like Terry putting Khabib maybe at one, which is absolute lunacy over GSP. Maybe the idea, hey, at the end of the day, GSP is in the point of his career now where it's like, you better just bust out the cash. He cares about his legacy too. And stopping Khabib from going 30-0 would be the cherry on top to the greatest UFC career in history. But yeah, like I said, the only way that happens, that fight even I think happens, is if Poirier beats Connor.
Food
Because
for thought, though. Now that Holloway dismantled Cater like that, in Khabib and Holloway were supposed to fight a couple years ago. That fight fell through. Is that on the table now?
I don't think so.
Is Khabib
it
interested in a fight
should
with
be.
Holloway?
Nah, I
It
don't think so.
should be on
I
the
don't think Holloway
but I
cares.
don't think he'll.
I don't think Holloway gives a shit about any division except for the 45. Except for 45. I don't think he gives a fuck about lightweight. I don't think he went up there to
I
fight
think
the
he gives
Poirier
a fuck
because
about
he
He
money.
did. I think he cares. He said that he would go in next week. I think he loves money, man. And Khabib's a big money fight. Why wouldn't he do that?
because Khabib it's not as easy as like a whole camp to face Khabib. Like I'm not saying that
No,
Holloway if they told
no,
him,
I know.
listen,
I
you're
just
gonna
said
make
that
10
Conor
times your
McGregor needs.
if you're gonna make 10 times your money, then yeah, he'll fucking do it. But I think Holloway right now wants to beat Volkanovski to get his belt back, and then he'll talk about fighting somebody else. I think that's his first focus. And it
Yeah,
should
and
be
it
his
should
first
be.
focus. Should be.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that. I think that's pretty fair, and I think you're right. I think the maybe is Connor beats Poirier. And like that's I just don't see why Khabib would be in the Middle East to just tell him maybe. I thought it was hilarious how they amped up the Khabib decision at 3 o'clock.
Yeah,
Didn't
it's a
drop it
waste
till
of
about
time.
3:45. 3:45 made sure everybody watched a couple fights and about an hour of commercials first. Uncle Dana's the greatest promoter in the game. That's why he's worth $1 zillion. Thought it was hilarious. They legit amped up a maybe They was this the best ever. What else do we have on that? Oh yeah, we have a fight coming
Yeah,
up
we
here
have a
on
fight.
Wednesday. What are we talking about here? I'm thinking, oh boy, boys, we're cruising along here. Wrong, wrong. We have a preview of the January 20th card. Terry, bring us into that. You let us know what's going on this
So the
Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern in the Middle East.
so the
Fight
rest of
Island.
the rest of the card is pretty there's like Roxanne Modafferi. Like, there's a lot of good fights on the card. If you're like a fight fan, you can watch it. But the
Mm,
main fight is Chiesa and Magny. And the reason why I love this fight so much is because Chiesa, we haven't seen him in a while, but he's moved up to 170 and he looks good, man. And he looks focused and he's a lot more mature than he was when he lost to Kevin Lee. Like, I mean, Chiesa's like a very different fighter than what he was when he won the Ultimate Fighter to when he had a losing streak in the UFC, and now he's a very different fighter. And I like Chiesa a lot. And I've always been a huge fan of Magny. Magny fought like
mm.
8 times in like 20 months once. Like, the guy was nuts.
Yeah, this
And
is his 10,000th fight.
Yeah, dude. I feel like Neil Magny
always
fights
there.
every single time.
I
He's
love this
always
fight.
there. This guy is game, dude. 6'2". He's 170 pounds. Chase is obviously moving up. He's 33 years old. Who do you like in this fight, Terry?
I'm not touching this fight with any of my money, but if I do had to,
Well, not money. I'm
yeah, in
talking
general,
just
I'm
person.
taking Magny. I think Magny, what he did to Jiang Lang last time and what he's been doing, he's been on a really good tear. He's shown everybody that his game is well rounded from the ground from standing. Neil Magny is to me one of the most underrated fighters in the history of the UFC. I think he's never had a title shot, and the guy's beat a lot of really good fighters.
Yeah, he does have an impressive career. Jack, who do you got in this one?
I also have Neil Magny. I think he's got too many tools. I again would not touch this with money at all. But I think Neil Magny wins. I don't think he gets the finish. I think this one goes the distance. But Neil Magny.
I
Yeah,
love it.
I think his previous fight against Rocco Martin, he looked good. Back in the summertime, I think it was at UFC 250. I'm going to take Magny as well. I always like the guy who's usually in the division rather than a guy coming up from 155. I find that maybe power will be an issue there for Chiesa. Who knows? I could be dead wrong, but I'm with you guys. I'm taking Magny in this fight. I think he's going to win it pretty sound. I don't think it's. I actually think he's going to win it like pretty.
So
pretty
you would
easily.
put money on it.
Yeah, I would. I would.
Who's his
I don't ever like a guy coming up. I mean, look at Conor McGregor lost to Nate Diaz, right? At 170.
The only
Diaz is a journeyman.
the only
Like,
thing
call it what it is. I love Nate Diaz, no disrespect, but he's a journeyman.
the only thing is that is Magny, his last 3 fights have been decisions. I'm looking at it now, and
Yeah.
and he beat Robbie Lawler. If you can't knock out Robbie Lawler at this point in your career, or at least knock him down a few times, I think that this is, I think that maybe you work on some power. But the thing is Magny works with Trevor Whitman, and Trevor Whitman is probably the best boxing coach in the UFC in MMA, and I like that part of him. And they called him a gazelle for a reason. I think I might put money on Magny. I'm convincing myself here.
Yeah, man, I like that he's already in the division, but he's coming up to fight him. I think he's got it. I think that there's a reason why all three of us picked him, but we've all been wrong before and we'll all be wrong again.
If you are going to bet on him, I would bet on him to win by decision, though. He's not going to be a knockout.
Exactly. I'm not looking for a money line.
That's exactly it. I wouldn't be. No money line. Take them by decision, and I think that you'll be making a smart play. You can go to mybookie.ag, use promo code Tarps offseason, 100% deposit bonus on every dollar you upload, up to a rack, free money. Bet on the fights Wednesday afternoon. I mean, if you got a day off work, make sure you get fight drunk. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
So
I can't wait.
I mean, if you're off work, if you're not, probably don't do that and just have a coffee because it's at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What time does the McGregor fight card start on Saturday?
I think
Does
it's
the main
normal.
card start at 8?
The main card starts at 8?
No, it's in Abu Dhabi. Why wouldn't it be if the other two cards are in the afternoon? Why wouldn't this? I know it's McGregor.
I know it's not in the afternoon. I know that the main event is supposed to start at like 12:10.
Okay.
3:30 is the prelims. It says here. The prelims
so
are at
3:30 is the. Okay, so then the card probably starts at like 6:00, boys. Like I wouldn't be so sure that it's late at night. It's 6:30 probably start. So I just want to make sure that we're all good to go because this is McGregor fight. We better be ready to be live. But there's no way that it's that time at night because it would be like, dude, like
6:30.
if it's Yeah, I was
Oh,
gonna say it has
6:30.
to be
Okay.
because if it was like 12 at night, it would be like legitimately like 9 a.m. there or something
I thought I saw
like the
that it
next
was started
day.
12:10.
But that
No,
happens
man,
though.
no.
But that's happened
It
before.
might be
We've
12.
seen
It might be.
we've seen fights in Abu Dhabi that we watched at midnight here, but there's 9 a.m. over there. We've seen that before.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I
I
don't think
just
it's
don't
ideal
think
for
that.
those
I
guys.
think with fans in the stands, right? Like that's why they're there.
Oh,
They
it's
got
true.
fans
That's
there,
a good
right?
point.
So
Yeah.
I don't think that they're going to ask the people paying the big bucks to see a McGregor fight to do that. I think that instead of making us start at 3 o'clock like the other day, everybody just loses 3 hours, right? People in
Hmm.
North America, the rich people in Abu Dhabi, which my uncle lived there. He had his business there for a while.
That's nuts.
Fucking place is awesome, man. He had said it was funny when I was like, "What was it like living in Abu Dhabi?" Because of all this Fight Island stuff. My uncle just said, he's like, people might think it's weird living under a dictator, but he's like, I've never seen shit get done faster in my life in a more beautiful, well kept place in my life. He's
That's
like,
funny.
it's almost like not having a million people on boards everywhere is just better. He's like, he's just said it was just great living there. I'm so glad that Dana White knew that, while Florida could host them, they couldn't do the fans that they wanted. Abu Dhabi is the wild west, but in the Middle East. They're like, they get like this like, I don't know if it's like a rep or whatever. People are like, oh, it's going to be different there. Like, no, it's super westernized there. And,
Hmm.
and I mean, look at the buildings and structures in that city. When you look at the promos,
Beautiful.
like Abu Dhabi is a fucking 10 out of 10 looking place, man. Like, what a beautiful spot.
Hmm.
Fight Island kicks ass.
No, big
I
time.
love
I
Fight
can't
Island.
stress that enough.
Can't wait.
Fight Island kicks ass. Guys, I think that about does it for episode 2. We're going to be doing a little interview series that'll be dropping on Friday before the McGregor card. We'll recap Wednesday's card. We're going to have Robin Black on.
Oh,
Everybody in MMA knows Robin Black. Buddy of mine, he's going to be dropping by to join the boys on Tarps Off MMA. You can follow the Tarps Off MMA account on Twitter at Tarps Off MMA. You can follow me at C Mancuso, MANCUSO 9797. Jack, where can they find you then, Terry?
You can find me on Twitter at Jack Gottsell, JackGotsell.
you can find me at Twitter, Terry Tam, and Hot Sauce Sports anywhere else. Also, we're gonna ask Robin Black see who the best featherweight of all time is, and I bet you he says it's Max Holloway.
Well, we'll have to see. I love Robin Black. I find nothing funnier than when he does the video breakdowns of people. Yeah, that's the best too. We'll definitely get a bink out of him for sure. But when he does, like I saw one the other day, this dude was about to fight a guy next to a car, and they're talking. Buddy hits his head off the car to show that he's tough, and as he comes back, Buddy just boom cranks him. He goes out cold. And Robin Black, he's like, he makes a critical error, bouncing his head off the car, and then bink. It's the
Ink.
best. Robin Black
Enjoy the
coming up.
hostilities.
Tarps Off MMA. Enjoy the hostilities, everyone. Enjoy Wednesday. We're going to be back one more time ahead of this McGregor fight. It's McGregor fight week. Fanboys are going insane. Jack has had his wiener tucked into his waistband for the last 40 minutes since we brought up Connor for the first time. We'll see you guys next episode. TarpsOffSports.com.